If a loved one goes into a nursing home, we hope they'll be safe and treated with dignity. It's what Steph expected for her mum. She was wrong. A camera installed in the 82-year-old's room capturing the shocking treatment she received in her final days.
Can someone help me, please? I can't move my legs.
These are the people that brought us into this world. These are the people that set us up, and they're being treated like this.
Fran's sitting half naked at the window with the curtains open. They're not doing what they say they're going to do, which is let the people die with dignity and respect.
82-year-old Fran Nielsen spent her life caring for her family. But in her final days at Ozcare Hervey Bay, her daughter Steph says she didn't receive the same care.
They didn't show her the respect and the dignity that she deserved. She was 82 years of age when she died. And just this last 12 months would have had to have been her worst year in her whole life.
Fran moved into aged care in 2016 after having a brain bleed and a bad fall that left her needing a walker.
She actually called it the resort. She said, oh, there's some nice resorts around town I've seen, you know.
Her family says Fran's first years at Ozcare Hervey Bay in Queensland were good, but in 2022 her health started to decline, and Steph says so did her care.
We had a camera put in her room because she'd actually mentioned to me a few times that a couple of the staff had been calling her names and saying rude things to her, and I just kept saying, oh, Mum, they don't do that, you know, stop talking like that.
Ozcare agreed to let Steph put in a camera, and it turned out Fran was right. In March that year, an aged care worker called Fran a bitch while trying to help her in the bathroom. A few months later in June, Fran had another brain bleed. The day it happened, she was combative and staff had little patience for her behaviour.
Hello?
Hello, Fran. What do you mean?
I want to get help today.
I can't help you do that, sorry.
Yeah, so I told the RN what happened. She'll be right. Tell her right.
I could see a difference in my mum the next day. And I took her to the optometrist to get her eyes checked, thinking maybe just because I noticed she was touching things different, like feeling rather than just picking something up. And the optometrist actually said to me, take her to the hospital straight away. She's had another brain bleed. And that's when they confirmed it at the hospital.
Steph says her mum was diagnosed with brain conditions, vascular dementia and Parkinsonism.
She'd become combative. She was like a child, banging things.
Fran was experiencing behavioural changes outside of her control. She needed patience and support to uphold her dignity. But her family says she didn't get it.
Go easy.
Yeah, it's all right.
It isn't me.
No, I'm not hurting you.
You are it isn't me.
No.
You are.
No.
Just roll over that side.
Roll this way.
I can't roll over.
Well,
Okay,
how are we
we'll
supposed to do
help.
it?
We'll help you. Okay? We'll help you.
Over you come. Right, you can stay in bed.
Yeah.
That's it. Good night.
We are helping you, but you are hitting us. That's not the good
I'm
thing
putting a
there.
report into the police about you hitting me. I won't muck around.
It's off.
Later that day, Steph's husband Bernie had to ask staff at Ozcare Hervey Bay to put clothes on Fran after realising she was sitting at the window naked.
Well, I'm getting just as upset as my wife is, because she's just looking in the camera now and Fran's sitting half naked at the window with the curtains open, and she's been sitting like that for over 15 minutes.
What was your reaction when you saw what was happening on the camera footage?
I was disgusted. I felt sick for Steph and for her mum, because she was such a proud woman.
What happened in the early hours of August 15, 2022 is confronting.
Help. What have I done? Peter.
Fran calls out to her late husband.
Peter. Peter. I've nearly killed myself there. Can someone give me a hand, please?
For 25 minutes, Fran begs for help.
Hello? Hello? Can someone help me, please? If you don't want to help, just phone the police. I would myself, only I can't get out. What's the matter? I'm trapped beneath my chest of drawers. Why was it like that? Ah, my knees. Can someone help me, please? I won't Ah, my toes. You've nearly taken me bloody toes off. Please.
The worker eventually moves the chest of drawers back into place, but instead of checking if Fran's okay, she tells her off and leaves.
Now do not try to move it again, please. Otherwise you will hurt yourself.
Steph watched the accident unfold live from home.
I rang Ozcare and said to them could they check my mum out, because no obs were done. And the obs were done about 2.5 hours later.
Fran died on Anzac Day this year. In the days before, Steph was shocked to see another resident wander into her mum's room twice.
Where's your man?
It should never have happened. My mum was dying and another resident is in there, doing this to my mum.
Steph says staff also failed to maintain her mum's hygiene and an appropriate level of medical care.
I produced footage of mum in her own mess in her bed. She was left for up to 6 hours.
Steph says she developed a pressure sore on her back from being bedbound, and doctors asked for her to be turned every 2 hours to prevent it from getting worse. But Steph claims that didn't happen, and it ended up becoming 6 centimetres wide.
Did your mum die with dignity?
No. No, she didn't.
Are you worried that other families have relatives that have been treated like this and they don't know?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Ozcare Hervey Bay apologised to Fran's family in a letter late last year, saying it holds its staff and services to a high standard and that it was sorry that the care and services given to Fran had not consistently met those standards. We asked to speak to a spokesperson from the facility about Fran's care, but instead received a generic statement from Ozcare about its commitment to residents.
It's just torn the guts out of both of us, didn't it? And we've still got a long way to go to get through it. Every day is a challenge.
Do you think Fran ultimately was treated like a human?
No.
And if it wouldn't have been for the camera, I wouldn't have found out the way she was being treated.
Steph also reported her complaints about Ozcare Hervey Bay to the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission. In a statement, the Commission said it audited the facility and found it was non-compliant with 14 of the 42 requirements of the quality standards and issued a notice requiring them to address the issues. But it re-accredited the service till May 2025 and said it will conduct another full site audit then. Steph says her mum deserved so much more.
She would be absolutely disgusted. If she saw this happening to anybody else, she'd be doing what I am doing.
Just treat them like you would your own mum and dad. You wouldn't want them going through what we've just been through.
And we know the majority of aged care workers do an amazing job, sometimes under very trying circumstances. But Ozcare Hervey Bay failed a third of its quality standards. It has been told to do better, but it won't be fully audited for another 2 years. That's a long time, and the system needs to do better.